Srinavasan. I'm the meeting's new VPGM, joined from Microsoft about 45 days back.
Jonathan Rosenberg, the CTO for collaboration.
Rowan, Trollope, and I run the collaboration group.
Tom Cure, I run calling and contact center.
I'm Vasily Tryant, the new VP GM of the Customer Care Business Unit Contact Center.
Great. Questions? Go ahead.
Yeah, when are the AR meetings capabilities that I think Angie demoed available? And is that something that that she said that Apple and Cisco co-developed?
So we've taken the AR capabilities into beta this month, and we've obviously used the Apple SDK to the fullest extent possible, and we continue to leverage that technology as it becomes available.
And it'll be GA when?
We're going through our EFT customers right now, early adoption customers, and as feedback rolls in, we expect to roll it out GA by the summer timeframe.
Okay, thanks.
Go ahead, Lynn.
So the market share for Apple's like that, and Android is like that. When does Android get the new toys? Everyone's
I don't
ignoring
know the
me.
answer. I don't know. We have to find out. I mean, the challenge is it uses AR kits, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously,
Apple's made it really easy
yeah,
to
they
do
made
AR.
it super easy.
Yeah, so.
If Android makes it that easy, you know, I think we'd love to do it.
Yeah.
Someday is
Yeah,
We'll follow up on that and get back to you. Sure,
And
go.
so just a couple quick follow-ups on the AR. Is that going to be part of like a new WebEx release? Is it a
Yes.
special app, or
Yes.
how do you get that?
It's part of WebEx.
Okay.
It's part of WebEx. There's actually a beta app on Apple Store where you can try it out now.
Okay.
Yeah, go download it.
Yeah, go ahead, Sabrina.
Yeah, so you work, but I want to know if you can share a vision for Latam market. All these products, all these services for Latam community.
Vision for the LATAM community.
Well, we're in Latin
I think, Rowan, you could break it into meetings and calling.
Yeah.
And then we can address each.
Yeah, why
I
don't we
think
talk
they're
about
both
calling
distinct.
and you and
So Mike, you want to do the calling piece first?
Sure. We've been in the calling business in Latin America for a long time. Through all of our businesses through service providers. So we have relationships with Telefonica in so we tested Argentina, Peru, Chile, Brazil, and then also through American Mobile properties, so the Claro properties. So we have a number of services that we launch in a number of markets. Right now, probably the biggest growth for our business in Latin America is Brazil, where we've now launched with Vivo and a new service there for the enterprise on calling. So that's the activity we have going on in the Latin American market.
And so, do you want to follow
So
up the meetings?
on meetings, I'll have to follow up with you, and Sophia, I can take an action. I'm just
Okay.
to follow up with you.
I think one of the things that's unique about not only Latin America, but other parts of the world, is the ability to work in variable conditions in terms of network quality and infrastructure. Think about everything we showed you today was all about this like, super high quality, beautiful and everything. Well, a big part of what differentiates us is the ability to run when network conditions aren't so great and to have a great experience. And that's a huge problem in Latin America and everywhere else, right? If you're in the U.S. living in San Francisco, you might never see that problem because you've got LTE with 5 bars and great network. But that doesn't exist everywhere, and we put a lot of care and attention, again, on that sort of idea of making stuff available to everyone, to work in these incredibly low bandwidth sort of scenarios so that you still get a good experience. And there's unbelievable amount of innovation that goes into that, and all kinds of patents and everything else that come out of our codec team. So it's a big part of it, and that's why we do so well globally, because we've got the network coverage of our own networks, and then we also have all this technology to make it work great everywhere.
And the video mesh is another example of technology we're building to bring great video collaboration everywhere in the world, including LATAM, so that those nodes can be deployed in businesses in LATAM by service provider partners there to easily bring high-quality video to those locations.
Existing WebEx customers, are they going to just wake up one day and log in and see the new experience, or they have to download a new app and... Okay, cool.
Just shows up, right?
Well, you got auto update on your iPhone, but
Right.
On mobile, yeah, and then on web, that's the great power of web. It'll just be
And
there.
you mentioned there's some customers still using like older versions.
Yeah.
Will they automatically too? We're gonna have to reach out to them and say, hey, you guys are on the old one. We need to get you on the new one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, and what we're doing is we are aggressively increasing the speed of the delta between our lockdown versions. And that way we get everybody onto the new experience quickly. And the value of the new experience leads to not needing lockdown anymore. So that's eventually our objective.
Great. Again, go ahead.
Yes, with this new version of WebEx, what's going to happen with Spark, especially the free version?
We're going to continue to have a free version of now we're calling it WebEx Meetings.
So it's going to be called WebEx. So
Or sorry, WebEx Teams.
So the app that used to be just Meetings, WebEx, is now called WebEx Meetings.
Okay.
And Sri demoed it. The app used to be called Spark, is now WebEx Teams.
Okay.
WebEx Teams still free for basic usage, and then if you want to get advanced features, all the enterprise stuff, the reporting feature I showed you, those are all part of the paid tiers of the product. That's unchanged.
And if you go to webex.com, it's newly refreshed. It has an online motion for both meetings and Teams.
Okay.
Yeah, I had a couple of questions for Jonathan. I'm not sure I understood the WebEx graph. If there's one thing that I need to understand about it, what's that one thing?
One thing. There's a lot of words
Make it
there. I
easy
appreciate
for
it.
me.
It's a little techie. It sort of encapsulates the insight and knowledge of the system. It's like smarts that allow everything else in the system to sort of predict what you mean. And again, it's best understood by example. And you saw Tim do this calling demo that figured out who were the top Michaels he meant as an example of the WebEx graph, right? The system knows, who he talks to and who he meets with, and on all the Michaels, he's like, this degrees of separation thing, right? So that's the Michaels that are the least separated from him, and those are the ones that surface first.
I see. And then when did Video Mesh launch?
So it's a new name for something we've actually had for some time called Hybrid Media Node. That feature has been in the market for, I think, almost a year and a half. And we gave it a new name because it has some new capability as well. And that's available today, the ability to join any WebEx meeting from the WebEx Teams application. You'll get the benefits of Video Mesh today.
Go ahead.
Hi. If you were outside the company and you have the opportunity to build a new channel partner around these technologies, to build a Cisco channel partner, what do you do? What kind of technology you work, what kind of solutions you create?
To create a new channel partner?
Yeah, I think
If you have the opportunity,
so
you
I'll
have $2
start
million
now.
to create a new channel
I'll
partner.
start
What-
and I'll turn it to Shri and Tom and Mike also, or anyone else who wants to comment. The previous channel partners, or the sort of the first generation of channel partners in the collaboration space, were about installing boxes on premises and configuring and maintaining, servicing them, and so on. The next generation of partners are increasingly getting focused on adding value through building applications and integrations, embedding our technology into workflows. We have lots of partners that are doing this, so they're starting to hire software developers, app developers, and they're really focusing on this value add. And I think what that means for customers is it's kind of a big deal, because they didn't really ever love paying all of this money to partners to kind of like install stuff and maintain it. It was hard. Well, as we make that easier and the transition to the cloud, those partners get to operate the systems and integrate the systems and do that kind of stuff. So I think that's a big shift for this industry, and we have a huge number of partners that are already making this shift, frankly. You want to talk about that?
I was going to say that I think to build on that, if you look at the partners around delivering things like Salesforce, it's all about understanding the customer's business and integrating. And so far in the collaboration space, just installing. And I think that's what we have an opportunity. I think partners have an opportunity to do that. The second thing we'll talk about quite a bit, I think, is really helping the customers transform their current infrastructure to cloud. So it's not something you can switch on one day. We'll talk quite a bit about transformation and the journey of moving from premise to cloud. And so having that knowledge of both premise and how to get to the cloud is another skill set. I think it's pretty important.
So just to add to what Mike said, we believe in an open canvas, and WebEx Graph is very much part of it as an example. In a sense, customers are looking for finished solutions today, and it's our remit, being a cloud provider, to provide solutions that would just work. And with the open collaboration platform and data points like WebEx Graph, a partner is able to add further value to the business processes that customers consume from the cloud. So they get to upsell, specialize in industry verticals, or add on to our solutions and build into our ecosystem itself.
I would also add adoption. So one of the biggest challenges with SaaS services is getting users to use them. And these team collaboration tools are different. They're transformative, and they're linked very much to the way the businesses operate. So especially in LATAM, that has its own unique culture and way people work, a partner capability that understands the businesses in LATAM and can go in and give use cases and guidance and how a company there can grow and use these products is gold. This is what we certainly look for very much in partners, and it's a big change to how they've traditionally operated.
The last thing I'll add is, if I was you asked directly, what would I do if I was building a brand new partner? I would focus on workforce transformation. I would build a partner that went in and partnered and sort of worked with companies to help transform their workforce, because that's the outcome that they're ultimately looking for. And I would be an exclusive Cisco partner on that front, of course.
I expect you.
That's the only company that I need. I can use all the Cisco technology and bring that in and actually transform a workforce. And it turns out there is a huge motion in business right now to actually hire. There's a whole industry being created called workforce transformation. There's specialists who come in and say, oh, your offices are all wrong, and we're going to use this color paint, and we're going to put in video conferencing, we're going to change the way you meet, and we're going to change the way you sit at desks, and blah, 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 blah. I would do that. And because the technology enablement of all of that is amazing, and it's very much tied to business outcomes. So you can kind of go in and you can say, look, we're gonna make your business more relevant. We're gonna make your employees happier. We're gonna make everybody work better together. That's the kind of area that I think if I was gonna go create a new partner, I would do that.
Yeah, and we have 2 customer panels tomorrow, I think, that actually brings the customers on stage to actually talk exactly about what Rowan.
No, but just to figure out how do you think. For example, in this case, people are trying to make new frameworks of gamifications to have a better workforce.
That's right.
You think a partner could bring these techniques inside your portfolio?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, they already have. Like, after a WebEx meeting, for example, it would be great if you could, and one company's doing this already, they'll pop up and ask you, please rate the people who are in the meeting who you would like to have another meeting with. Oh, wow. And, I mean, they're not so bold as that, but they're a little, like, if you were on a desert island, who's the one person on the meeting you would like to be stuck with, kind of thing.
I saw a Black Mirror episode like that.
So yeah, I would do this kind of stuff. I mean, gamification, there's all kinds of stuff you can do, and we're adding more and more capabilities to that platform to add value. So,
great. Go ahead.
How do you intend to adapt virtual assistants for each business? Is this a challenging concern?
Yeah, I'll take that. Yes, and Rowan talked about this in his 5 levels of meeting AI. So in the first 2 levels, they're not very specific to the business. Everyone needs to join a meeting, end a meeting, share their screen. But as we get to the 3rd level of AI, it starts to be aware of the terminology, the language, the specifics of that business. So inside of Cisco, the engineers might say something like, oh, did you file a CPOL on that new release of, the Spark Cloud backend? That's terminology, an acronym specific to our engineering team, and building an ASR and a natural language processing system that understands what that means is part of our vision. You don't get this to start. This is a very difficult problem to solve, but this is why we bought this company called MindMeld that Tim Tuttle is the CEO of. Their company focuses on deep domain conversational AI, which means being a specific vocabulary and grammar design to solve particular problems. So one of the reasons we bought that was looking forward. We knew we would need this technology in the future. So these problems today are easy for MindMeld's technology, but that's where we'll start. It'll really, really come powerful when we go to this third level of meeting AI.
And how many languages will be this technology?
I knew you were going to ask that question. I knew it. Many. It's starting today in English only. Okay, it will do more over time. I will say, in our defense, very difficult. It's not like normal localization. WebEx and WebEx Teams are available in many languages. It's very simple to translate words. The NLP...
regional
Oh, yeah.
It has to be trained.
Retrained. It must be retrained for every single
It's like a
language.
child that has to be raised in Latin America.
Yes. Yes. Yes, pretty much.
Lynn, you had a question?
Yeah, I was wondering, the global marketing campaign you're doing, who are you aiming it at? Like right now, most small organizations I know will use Slack for collaboration because that's what they know. They've never heard of Spark. They think Microsoft Teams is too expensive, probably. So are you aiming at the lower level as well as moving up into the enterprise?
Yeah, exactly. We're doing that, but actually we're targeting in a slightly different way. So we're looking at IT decision buyers, which is the traditional collab buyers, and we're actually extending the entire campaign to end users. So if you look at some of the logos that Rowan showed, we actually have 6 content partnerships with CNN, Bloomberg, The Economist, IDG, Wired. We can share a lot more of that with you.
Yeah, LinkedIn too, I thought.
Sorry?
LinkedIn too, I saw.
Yeah, and so we have that sort of those content partnerships, and then obviously we have a social digital campaign on the back of that as well. But essentially, as I mentioned earlier, we're targeting both the IT buyers and the end users. So we want everyone who's actually using collaboration technology to see how easy it is to actually reach, be able to reach and connect with people intuitively.
But one of the reasons for the brand rename, you just hit it. Everybody knows the WebEx name. It's like a brand, it's like Kleenex, right? It means meeting. And so now, WebEx Teams, I get it. It's a team collab app from the people that made WebEx. Very simple.
And just put it in perspective, Slack has claimed 6 million active users. WebEx, we have 130 million active users that join meetings. And we've got 20 million, over 100 million phones on desk. So we've actually got an amazing position with global coverage, and the companies you talk to, I'm sure, are more on the cutting edge. But the average person would have no idea what you're talking about if you said Slack. They'll know WebEx, and they'll know Cisco phones and so on.
To follow up on that, I did get the impression if I was a small business owner, if I was a 2-person law firm, and I would, looking at the marketing about WebEx, I would think, oh, this is an enterprise tool for companies with thousands of people. Are there plans to have specific marketing to say, hey, small guys, this is for you. It's easy to sign up for.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the things that you saw that Rowan showed at the end was we used the celebrity Millie Bobby Brown from Stranger Things, and specifically, that's a really nice way of reaching and extending beyond our core audience to like millennials. Workers, and so on. You see a lot of the IBM work that we serve is actually the millennial workers at the IBM offices that, really, at the forefront of it, taking our collaboration tools and being, kind of the thought leader within the organization. So we've actually been looking at those personas specifically, and to your point, absolutely, the SMB audiences is something that we're looking at too.
Okay. We already sell there, so WebEx Online.
Yep.
Is already sold to these businesses today.
Yeah, well over $100 million business for us.
Just for that.
And think about BroadSoft. I mean, your average.
Yeah, it's all under 100 seats.
Under 100 seats. So these are all small, small
Okay.
businesses. So it's a big area of growth for us and for the whole company. Actually, Cisco has been really making strides in small business. So it's a big area of growth for us.
Yeah, I think for the whole industry, I think, this is a new market. I think until 3 or 4 years ago, small and medium businesses like, oh, video conferencing is expensive. Right. And now they're like, oh, we can do this.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And just to build on one last thing on that is, one of the content partnerships I talked about was with Bloomberg. So one of the things that we're doing with them is sort of this 3 video cases where they're actually looking at startup companies and giving them the Cisco collaboration tools. So we show the before and after of a startup using our tools. So all that will be sort of advertorial content that will sit on Bloomberg.
I like that. That ties into what Rowan's saying before. And I've been writing a lot about this. The new value of video conferencing isn't connecting your people in HD. It's reducing your scrum cycles from 6 weeks to 4 weeks.
Right. Exactly.
That's the results.
Very cool. Any other questions? Go ahead.
Yeah, I sort of thought since Phoenix has traditionally been the location of BroadSoft connections that this event would be, I know that you want to move towards the Cisco brand, but I thought it would be a little more BroadSoft-y. And I just wondered, how does BroadSoft fit into the announcements you're making today? And also, since you announced the Cisco acquisition at the last BroadSoft event, has everything pretty much played out like you thought it would, or did you tweak the strategy at all as you went along the way and learned?
Yeah, so I'll start and then I'll hand it to Mike because he's been living the integration every single day. So obviously the timing with the BroadSoft connections events was just coincidence. It wasn't an active thing. It just happened to line up that way. Everybody signed on the dotted line on the day before, so it just happened to be coincidental. I think you will hear a lot from Mike and myself over the next 12 hours around all the integration efforts and what our plans are, roadmap, features, functionality. But it's not just about integrating BroadSoft and HCS and our calling platform. Where the real strength of the messaging we're going to be delivering this week is really around the integration between BroadSoft and the WebEx brand, and linking the 120 million small, medium, and sometimes large enterprises to the rest of the WebEx. That power of bringing calling and video and WebEx together to us is where the real value is. That's why you see Rowan talk about calling, meetings, and Teams. So that's kind of a high level from what have we learned. I can tell you what we've learned is that our cultures are almost identical, so the integration work has gone really, really smooth. It's only been 2 months now. And Mike is obviously a fabulous industry leader. He has such great ties with all the SPs, an area that I think Cisco as a company has done okay with, but Mike's team, being small and nimble, has been really, really good at. So they've been bringing a lot of great expertise. And their sales force has just been so focused on the SP's success that that cultural aspect to us has been a learning experience. From a product perspective, I don't think we've learned anything new that would change direction. I think, Mike, you want to comment on that?
Yeah, I think the way to look at it is BroadSoft had always been a service provider, partner-oriented go-to-market. I think the first thing we're really doing is, we're reassuring our SPs that nothing's really changing, that they can continue to buy and they continue to be successful with the BroadSoft products. We've been looking at all of the Cisco technologies that we can integrate and bring through that channel. And there's been, we clearly, you saw, a large set of devices, award-winning devices that Cisco has. We never had devices, so this is certainly being tightly integrated devices is a great opportunity for us to enhance the experience. Things like the meetings technology, what can we integrate to that? And then the second half of that is how do we take the BroadSoft calling capabilities into the enterprise channel, and we're just really plotting that journey right now. And so it's only been a couple months. Now as Rowan mentioned, that's the broad cloud infrastructure will power WebEx calling, and we'll kind of get the details as we kind of sort that out over the next few months.
Thanks.
All right. Any other questions?
Just a quick one. What's the price of WebEx share, and where will customers buy?
We haven't announced pricing yet.
Okay.
We'll talk about it coming out later this year.
Okay. You got a second part?
Where can
people buy it?
Yeah, through our traditional channels, but the details will follow later this year.
Okay, thanks.
I don't know if I can ask this. I don't know if you can share some experience about government customers.
Yeah. In general, or specific to a company?
If you can.
I'm just asking on clarity. Mike, you probably have.
Yes, I have. We have a fair number of large government customers in Latin America. Trying to remember.
Government of Mexico. I mean, the president uses our products, or used to. Anyways, when I was last there. So all the way from the top all the way down in the Mexican. I'm not sure about Peru. But the government is a big segment of our business globally.
How
Huge.
are they using it?
Well, The government transition to cloud has been a big transformation lately. So outside of some of more of the security agencies, I would say the massive, federal government and other governments around the world are starting to transform. You want to talk about our initiatives?
Yeah, I would say to Rowan's point, they're like any new technology. They're very skittish. They want it proved out. They want reliability. They want clearly security is top of mind for them. So as they get more comfortable and as technology rises to meet their demands, especially the Cisco product, we use security first. We're seeing them adopt more and more. So in the U.S., for example, there's something called FedRAMP, which is putting federal government's voice services in the cloud. Cisco has a cloud offer. A lot of governments around the world will start to follow that same example. And obviously the U.S. government's used WebEx for decades.
Yep.
In terms of WebEx Teams, I can't comment.
So for WebEx, we have dedicated clusters for the government in the U.S. And pretty much all the compliance and elements we follow kind of track for WebEx. For WebEx Teams, we are in the process of expanding beyond the U.S. into other governments also, respecting data sovereignty needs. So that's on our roadmap.
Yeah, so, and specifically, WebEx has a FedRAMP offer today, which makes it suitable for U.S. government for WebEx meetings. WebEx Teams is way more complicated. It has begun the FedRAMP process, but we have a long ways to go. But we're working towards getting that certification.
And then finally, I'll say video conferencing. I think not only the federal government, but governments in general have been probably the largest single customer of our video conferencing products. And it goes everything from military to the President of the United States, and the White House, all the way to justice departments who have been using video to sort of make it safer to transport inmates to courthouses. So it's a massive growth area for us.
The White House through several administrations.
I have a customer.
Yeah, I mean, you can go ahead. Yeah.
So I'm going to step aside.
Yeah, thanks, Sri. Yeah, I think we're maybe just one last question then.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask what, if anything, GDPR is going to do to affect how you manage the platform.
Well, I can talk about that. So much time and energy into GDPR. So we are, of course, going to have GDPR compliance. It's around the corner, as you know. And we've made many improvements on both WebEx and WebEx Teams and our cloud offers to comply with GDPR. So many of those features are behind the scenes and they're not directly user visible. Other ones are. So for example, we did some work on if an organization deletes their account, we went through we do a data purge operation now to clean up the data when they terminate their account. We did some work on conversion of user accounts to free accounts to an organizational account. Our interpretation of GDPR is that this required stronger corporate ownership of the resulting data, so we did some data migrations to cover that. We have a long spreadsheet of features. Those are probably the two biggest visible ones. It's been our top security feature work, actually, has been achieving GDPR compliance, and we're good.
And Teams is good too?
Yeah.
Great. So thank you very much for joining us at the Collaboration Summit. I know we have 2 days of great program for you. If you